Don't forget to go to ashkicking.com for pound the best home health and beauty fragrance products.
Coachella Valley, man, everybody back at home. Everybody get ready, man. When I come back, we're going to celebrate.
Good luck, Mark.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, Tim, right here, please.
What's up, Fred?
You ain't heard
Dante's box.
My man.
Oh,
I got this on video, Tim. I'm putting it up.
I swear, man.
I wish I would have got when he did
I'll
it the
be
last
on it.
time. Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So Tim Bradley, who said before the Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia fight, he sees the same thing that Mikey Garcia sees in Errol Spence when it comes to flaws. Coincidentally, when Tim Bradley was still active and he was still fighting, he was actually in position to fight against Errol Spence, but he actually went a different route and decided not to fight Errol Spence. But this is what Tim Bradley had to actually say after watching Errol Spence completely dominate Mikey Garcia. This clip I'm about to play is brought to you guys by AB Boxing News. I actually collab with them, so go ahead and subscribe to their channel. Check out this clip, and I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts.
It was cool. I mean, good to see you, Christina. Great job, Christina. No, it was a cool performance. You know, a lot of people saying they didn't see anything new from Spence. I like the fact that one, he went 12 rounds. I saw him get a little gas because he threw a ton of punches, man. He threw a ton of punches, dude. Over 1,000 punches. That's unreal, man. I mean, I didn't think he had that in him, throwing that many punches. He was in one gear. I saw. Maybe he was in one gear. Maybe because he's overtrained. I didn't see that. You know, that real snap on his punches. It was more placement type of punches. But you know what I did see was that deep, like controlling distance, phenomenal. You know what I mean? He moved his head, got out of the way in spots. You know, he just made Garcia look just foolish. You know what I mean? It was horrible. I think honestly right now it's a possibility that Garcia could be done. Honestly, man, could be done. Think about it. His brother, 29 years old, retired after he suffered a loss. Mikey Garcia has done a lot in the sport. You know what I mean? Hasn't had that real big significant win, but he's captured 4 world championships, which is great. You know what I mean? And at the same time, he's one of those. It's not serious to me. It's serious to me. Let me say where I want to go with this because I don't want to keep it open ended. Okay. That's funny to me because he got a big paycheck, and he knows huge paycheck. Okay. When you get big paychecks, I mean, when was the last time? Think about it. When was the last time you see Conor McGregor get back in there? Give somebody credit. I mean, $100 million. It took him a minute to get back in there to fight for a couple of mil, bro. But he got a big check though afterwards. But it took him a minute to be able to negotiate that check. You know what I mean? He was trying to, approach or trying to accomplish greatness. It was horrible performance. But at the same time, it's like, what fight's going to get him up? You know what I'm saying? That's going to pay him.
Not Tim. You had great wars with Manny Pacquiao, and Spence basically called out Pacquiao inside the ring. You know, if that fight happened, what advice would you give to Spence?
Spence don't need no advice, bro. Spence ready. He don't need any advice, bro. For real. Spence is a master at distance, man. That's something that I don't know in the Floyd camp, what he learned, sparring Floyd Mayweather, but dude, he is great at it. Dude, Mikey couldn't even land a punch on him, bro. Like it was like Mikey, world class fighter, top 10. Okay, smaller guy, I get that. He should have been able to land something, significant, on Spence, but he couldn't, bro. I mean, and if he did, it was one punch at a time. It was no follow-up. He couldn't even get close to Spence to be able to throw, bro. And this is Mikey Garcia we talking about, bro. You know what I'm saying? Speed wasn't there. Punching power wasn't. Spence wasn't affected by it at all. Spence just did exactly what he wanted to do and had to do. Keep his height, use the outside. Pop, use the jab, work the body. The body work was phenomenal in this fight. Broke Mikey down. Almost had him out of there. He threw 1,000 punches, but hey, you know, you can't knock, sometimes you can't knock everybody out. Well, it's a 135 pounder. It's Mikey Garcia we talking about, boss. Guy with a tremendous heart, a guy that was trying, but just wasn't good enough.
It seems like he didn't belong in the ring that night, you know?
No, I mean, you know, there's weight class for a reason. I gave Mikey way too much credit than what, you know, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I did. I thought that Mikey, you know, had enough skill to be able to find some holes in Spence's, you know, defense. But Spence showed, he was like, man, like Spence showed that, like, I do got defense, I do got good footwork. You know what I mean? So I seen that. He kept the distance off. You know, he'd step to the side, he'll slip. You know, he slip shots from Garcia. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. I like what I saw from him, but it was, like I said, it was only one thing that I didn't like. He only had one gear. One gear. You know what I mean? Maybe it was because he threw a lot of punches and he kind of got weary, arm weary or whatever. But it wasn't.
He's willing to do that, and if he can do that,
he didn't have that next like that thump, bop, bop, bop. You know what I mean? That I'm used to seeing him doing, loading up with shots like he normally does. You know, especially when he got a guy against the ropes. But impressive win by Spence. You know, he earned my. Hey, listen, I've always respected Spence, Earl Spence, and I respect him more now. The fact that he beat Garcia, and he's moved up major in my pound for pound. Yeah, he's moved up. You know, you cannot discredit this win because he didn't knock him out, and you cannot discredit this win because he was a smaller guy. You can't. Mikey asked for this.
He did.
And he beat, like I said, he beat a top fighter pound for pound. You understand that?
Yes.
It's not like it's just some Joe Blow. No, this is a pound for pound, bro.
Yeah, big name.
Yeah. So anyways, that's my take, B.
Okay, so that was an excellent breakdown by Tim Bradley. And he said a lot of the same things that I said. He was impressed with a lot of the same things that I was impressed with when it comes to Errol Spence's performance. I just want to let people know, this is the way you are supposed to respond and react when maybe you had your prediction wrong. Maybe you have to eat a little bit of crow. This is how you're supposed to respond. You give the fighters the credit that they deserve, if they earn it, right? So credit to Tim Bradley. I totally agree with everything Tim Bradley said. I mean, I don't know if Mikey Garcia is completely done because Mikey does have a lot of options, but Tim Bradley makes a good point when he says Mikey Garcia's brother, Robert Garcia, his career was over pretty much. He was pretty much done at 29. You know, with Mikey Garcia, we really don't know, and we talked about this on a radio show. We don't know how much damage he really suffered. We don't know how well he will recover from that beating, because he did take a beating against a bigger guy, a bigger, stronger guy, Errol Spence. We don't know how damaged he is psychologically or even physically. I mean, Mikey Garcia, he didn't really sound like he was interested in staying at welterweight, but I still believe that Mikey has a chance of beating fighters like Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia. I think he would fare well with them. You know, at 140, you have Josh Taylor, Regis Prograis. Those are some tough challenges. Those are some real tough fights for Mikey Garcia. And then, of course, you go down to 135, he still has Lomachenko. So, but overall, what Tim Bradley said, it was spot on when it came to Errol Spence, man. I, too, was surprised that Mikey Garcia couldn't even touch Errol Spence. I mean, Errol Spence was making, while Errol Spence was looking like Floyd Mayweather. You guys probably remember throughout the promotion of this fight, Errol Spence, he kept saying, I don't know why some of these fans are looking at me like I'm some kind of Margarito, like I'm one-dimensional, etc., etc. Man, he definitely showed different levels. He showed new levels of his game. And it proves that if this man was only showing a portion of his skill and what he can do in the ring before this, man, the sky's the limit. There's no telling how far he can go. I'll tell you this, though, it's pretty ironic because 4 years ago, 2015, I interviewed Freddie Roach, and it was for the promotion of the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. And I asked Freddie, I said, who do you see as being the new Floyd Mayweather, the new Manny Pacquiao? once, they're basically gone or, just passing the torch. And he said, the guy from Texas. He said, the guy from Texas, what's his name? And I said, you mean Errol Spence? He said, yeah, that guy. He talked about, how he's seen Errol Spence spar with Adrian Broner. And he was like, yeah, he did stop him. I was there. So he was extremely impressed with Errol Spence. Now, just think about this for a second. Because the media, they had tried to push Roman Gonzalez, Canelo Alvarez, Triple G as the next pound-for-pound king to take over the torch. And you have Freddie Roach, who could have picked any of those fighters, and instead, he predicted it would be Errol Spence. And look at where Errol Spence is today. Once again, a lot of stuff that Tim Bradley just said, I pretty much said the same thing. For you to do something like that to Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is one of the most intelligent fighters in the sport of boxing. He has a great defense. He's extremely accurate. And before the fight, I did a lot of breakdowns and I kept trying to figure out what it is that Mikey Garcia sees in this fight. Now, I thought that this was going to be a very competitive fight, but I picked Errol Spence. And the reason why I picked Errol Spence, because I was looking at every possible scenario and I was like, okay, because I'm studying a lot of Mikey Garcia's fights against Broner, Robert Easter, Lipinets, and I'm seeing how accurate he is, how sharp he is with these opponents. Him landing his jab when he wants to, him landing his right hand almost when he wants to. And I said, okay, let's say he's effective and he can do that against Errol Spence. And I told you guys this. I said the problem is going to be, even if he's effective by landing a jab or a right hand, Errol Spence is going to come back and he's going to overwhelm Mikey Garcia. And he's going to force Mikey Garcia to work harder than Mikey Garcia wants to by throwing punches and bunches, but not just throwing punches and bunches, throwing punches that are landing, knowing what punches to throw at the right time. And it's crazy because Mikey Garcia, he said it in the post-fight press conference. He said, I was able to land a shot every once in a while, but it wasn't enough because Errol Spence was throwing too many punches and he was forcing me to work harder than I was planning on working. That was my prediction of what would happen in this fight. And that's exactly how it played out. So, I don't know if Mikey Garcia is done. Once again, Tim Bradley, he compared Mikey Garcia's career to Mikey's brother, Robert's career. And if you guys don't know, Robert Garcia was a really, really good fighter. He was a lightweight champion. He was an undefeated lightweight champion at the same time that Floyd Mayweather held a belt at the division. In fact, they were on a collision course. The only reason they never fought, because Robert Garcia's mandatory at the time, Diego Corrales, another undefeated fighter, he ended up knocking out Robert Garcia. And then we all know Floyd Mayweather ended up knocking out Diego Corrales. So Robert Garcia, by way of contrast to his brother, he got knocked out. But Robert Garcia was actually outboxing Diego Corrales because Diego had somewhat of a Margarito type of style. He walked through punches and eventually he will walk you down and knock you out. Robert Garcia was boxing beautifully in that fight, but eventually Diego, he caught up with him and knocked him out. Robert Garcia was never the same after that knockout because then he went on and he got knocked out a couple times after that. So the question is, did Mikey Garcia suffer the same type of psychological damage that his brother Robert Garcia suffered? And only time will tell. Let's see what happens in the near future. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.